Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Police are trying to identify human remains discovered near a popular surfing beach. For more, we're joined by Brianna Boylan, who's outside Belrive Police Station. Good evening, Brianna. The remains were found a while ago.
Yes, Kim, a local resident made the gruesome discovery on farmland near Oatlands, near Clifton Beach on July 6. The remains were located above the cliffs halfway between Clifton and Goats Beach. Forensic testing has confirmed they are human, most likely belonging to a middle-aged man, but police haven't been able to identify them. They're hoping some of the items found with the remains might help solve this mystery. They include black dress shoes containing several store-bought orthotic inserts, a short-sleeved shirt and a blue lighter. It's believed the items and remains could have been above the cliffs for between 5 and 30 years before being discovered. And while police say there's no evidence of violence, the death will be treated as suspicious until they can say otherwise. Now, further testing will be carried out to identify the remains, but anyone with information is urged to contact Belrive Police. Kim.
Well, there are renewed calls from social services for the Ashley Youth Detention Centre to shut down. The sector believes it could implement more effective therapeutic strategies, but the timeline for closure is still uncertain, despite the Commission of Inquiry's plea for urgency.
Fed up with children enduring constant lockdowns and being put at risk of physical and sexual abuse, justice advocates say Ashley Youth Detention Centre needs to close now.
The human rights abuses have been unfolding for a number of years, and it's our concern that they continue to unfold to this very day.
Echoing calls from the Commission of Inquiry, they've signed a letter to the Premier calling for immediate action. It's understood 14 children are in the centre, all on remand. 6 of them are Aboriginal.
We're trying to support vulnerable kids in Ashley and we can't get access. Our mentors can't get access. And when we do, it's a 20-minute visit.
The community services sector says with proper funding and access to safe housing, they could implement more effective means of rehabilitation.
What we see every day are these kids that are hurting. And they've usually come from crisis and trauma situations in the family context.
There's still no site locked in for a new facility, while the draft Youth Justice Blueprint is yet to be finalised. The government now likely to break its promise to close the centre in 2024.
We've committed to closing Ashley as soon as possible. Clearly we're working our way through the Commission of Inquiry report.
Progress not fast enough, according to some.
We're not seeing any of the groundwork, the important groundwork that needs to be done to make that happen.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation has taken its fight for safe staffing levels to Hobart. Employees at Calvary's Lenna Valley Hospital walked off the job this afternoon on day 2 of stop work action. It comes after the employer abandoned enterprise agreement negotiations.
We do double shifts. We are up, for 18 hours at a time at work. We don't get lunch breaks all the time.
Obviously there are skeleton staffing levels protecting patient care during this action, but our members would far sooner be back inside the Lenna Valley campus providing care to their patients.
Members of the public can expect industrial action to ramp up if Calvary doesn't return to the table. An investigation into a leading Greyhound trainer has found conditions at his kennel are broadly compliant with animal welfare laws. Animal activists released drone footage of Anthony Bullock's West Tamer property in August. An Office of Racing Integrity review found the conditions aligned with the Animal Welfare Act, but made several recommendations in relation to the greyhound industry. They include developing a canine welfare code of practice and implementing a life cycle traceability program. Other matters in relation to the video remain under investigation. An extensive 5-day search off the state's north coast has failed to find any sign of a missing fisherman. Efforts to locate Kerry Frankham will continue early next week, with plans to again utilise the Westpac rescue helicopter. The alarm was first raised after the 75-year-old boatie failed to return from a fishing trip on Sunday. His vessel located in waters off Beachford on Monday. Tasmania Police say they are continuing to work closely with the Deloraine man's family, who have expressed their gratitude for community support. The Premier has hosed down suggestions the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium won't have a roof. Stadium Minister Nick Street didn't confirm there would be a roof when asked in Parliament yesterday, raising opposition eyebrows.
It's in the agreement. Perhaps it was completely obvious because it's in the agreement. We'll have a roof.
The Premier keeps saying that he can build a roofed stadium at Macquarie Point for $715 million. I don't know anyone that thinks that that's actually possible. This is either dishonesty or it's delusion.
With the state still waiting to see if the federal government's contribution to the stadium will be taken out of our GST share, Liberal Senator Jonathan Duniam is calling foul on his federal Labor colleagues for not signing his letter to Treasurer Jim Chalmers asking for it to be excluded.
We have one job, no matter which political party we come from, and that is to stand up for our state.
Because mostly I'm not really into stunts, which is what John O'Duniam's letter is about.
The state submitted a formal request for a GST exemption on May 9, 10 days after the money had been awarded. A Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year is urging local youth to find their voice and learn more about the upcoming referendum. Caitlin Johnson joining with 2 federal senators on Parliament lawns this morning at a campaign event. With polls suggesting the youth vote could be critical to the final result, advocates say the proposed voice will have a big impact on the next generation's future.
As Indigenous future leaders, it shouldn't be our responsibility to take the lead on this. But we are here, we have a voice and we are offering to help.
This is your future that we can deliver in terms of hope, but in terms of something different.
Tomorrow marks 4 weeks until Australia goes to the polls. Queenstown has been dubbed Australia's top small tourism town at an awards ceremony at Parliament House in Canberra. Putting Tasmania's west coast on the map once again, the town known for its rich heritage, views and art focus joins New Norfolk, Strawn and Stanley in securing a place in the national awards. It comes just weeks before the Unconformity Art Festival in mid-October, which is expected to see thousands head west. Local conservationists have given 5 endangered species a voice in a new campaign demanding salmon farms be scrapped. The state government is adamant, though, both can survive. Today touring the state's southern waters to learn more about the sector.
Setting sail toward one of the state's most scrutinised industries, the Premier visibly on board with Tasmania's salmon farms.
We're proud of our aquaculture industry, which is some $650 million to Tasmania's economy annually.
With claims those funds are vital to the prosperity of other fields.
You cannot get up in Parliament every single day and advocate for essential services, but at the same time not support industries such as our forest industry, such as agriculture, such as salmon.
More than 2,000 Tasmanians are employed in the salmon sector each year.
17% of all jobs on the West Coast engaged in this industry. It's the lifeblood of Strawn.
Conservationists fishing for answers to back up those claims.
This industry consistently exaggerates the number of jobs it's providing.
Neighbours of fish farming today launching a new campaign calling on Federal Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek to shut the operations down for the sake of endangered species like the Maugean skate.
Scientists call us the thylacines of the sea, as we are destined to follow the Tasmanian tiger into extinction without your help.
Plans to create a zoological monstrosity by captive breeding is not enough. What you have to do is you've got to stop the salmon industry from polluting Macquarie Harbour.
We're looking at technological solutions that will enable us to supplement the oxygen that's going into the harbour and actually be able to offset all of that oxygen that our salmon use.
Tasmania's Salmon War showing no signs of scaling back. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
There were early morning delays for drivers this morning following a crash on the East Tamar Highway at Newnham. The 2-car collision happened around 6 a.m. A man in one of the vehicles was taken to the Launceston General Hospital suffering serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The highway was closed for an hour so police could examine the scene. It was cleared just after 7:30. More Tasmanians are discovering the benefits of equine therapy to help deal with the effects of disabilities, medical issues and mental struggles. But it's creating an overflow as groups like Riding for the Disabled call for more funding and volunteers to saddle up.
For Chris, learning how to live with multiple sclerosis was a difficult journey, but here she's found strength and a new friend.
Whilst there is no cure for MS, my hope is to try and outrun it.
She plans to do that through extensive equine therapy at the Riding for Disabled Association in Glenorchy South. Chris is one of many who have experienced the benefits of the low-impact sport, including reduced feelings of anxiety and stress thanks to horses like Clyde and Lana.
Exercising was difficult, but on the horse, Clyde's the horse I ride here, he carries me. And so basically I can last for a good 45 minutes and you're constantly using your glutes, your core muscles, all of that sort of thing.
But it's becoming increasingly difficult for the group to cater to the growing number of participants seeking the service. The RDA calling for funding to keep the horses saddled up, given it takes around $4,000 to care for one.
So we absolutely need funding. We are a self-funded organisation and we're a charity, so we heavily rely on donations and people funding for us. So the Petstock Foundation has been raising funds for us in various campaigns.
The charity looking for volunteers as well.
We desperately need more volunteers because we have a very long waiting list, and at the moment we don't have enough volunteers to offer spots for people with disabilities.
Aside from volunteers, the RDA is also calling for more horses of all shapes and sizes to come on board so they can expand their services. Projects like Big Hearts plan to double the amount of money raised this weekend, so groups like this one can continue for years to come.
No, it's unbelievably important and very valuable.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
A dedicated Tasmanian school has been awarded a special honour, recognised for its outstanding contribution to charity. It's the 8th time St Patrick's College has been handed the Champions of Hope Shield by the Cancer Council.
A sea of green for a sea of pride.
It's definitely a very overwhelming feeling to be able to give something back that means so much to a lot of people.
St Patrick's College handing Cancer Council Tasmania a cheque for more than $10,000. The funds raised as part of this year's Relay for Life in Launceston.
We put a lot of effort into Relay for Life and it's lovely to be able to help back a community that helps so many people across Australia.
Nice to give back to a cause that has helped so many people who are affected by cancer.
In return, students receiving the Champions of Hope Shield, recognised as the highest fundraising school for yet another year.
St Pat's College have actually been hardworking enough to win this award 8 times in the past.
And we've always played quite an integral role in Relay for Life every year since its commencement in Launceston.
St Patrick's contribution adding to the overall 2023 tally of more than $113,000, every cent staying in Tasmania, helping fund clinical research, prevention and supportive care services.
It's fundamental and I feel like the students always have a really great time contributing to the community and they get out there, get amongst it.
More than 100 students and staff banding together, stepping up for a special cause.
It's a very warm feeling to know that what we have done in March and has made a contribution to everyone else's lives.
A committed contribution, passing the baton to next year's relay team. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are encouraged to catch a glimpse of the Abstract Truth exhibition at the Amuna Arts Centre, exploring the harrowing stories of 11 forgotten Australians who are survivors of child removal practices across the country, now turning their past trauma into art.
We allow participants to have the opportunity to reframe past injustices and create new personal meanings of their stories.
You believe now and you can tell your story and people listen to you and you don't have to feel that you're a bad person anymore.
It's hoped shining a light on victims' stories ensures they never happen again. The works will be on display until mid-October. Meanwhile, the finishing touches are being made on the latest exhibition to be unveiled at Inveresc's QV-Mag. Wetlands explores the importance of the rich biodiversity and ecosystems of the Kanamaluka-Tamar estuary. The interactive display is hoping to attract visitors of all ages, inspiring them to stop and think about the role wetlands play in the environment.
Wetlands are special places that we are now all responsible for. Wetlands are extraordinarily rich in biodiversity and productivity.
It's an incredible way for people to see, explore, feel, touch, move and deep dive into the actual wetlands.
The exhibition opens tomorrow with an expert panel session to mark the occasion.
Starting with local footy, and Cygnet has declared itself the underdog ahead of tomorrow's SFL Grand Final. Despite their big preliminary final win last week, the Port says the pressure is on bitter rival Huonville, with the Lions looking to complete a perfect season.
Familiar foes back at it on the final day of the season. It's the third time in 4 years Cygnet and Huonville will contest the SFL Grand Final. The Huon Valley rivals are aware of the high stakes.
It's just keep the nerves down and try and stay calm and just enjoy the day and the build up to it as well.
Certainly is a big assignment. Arch rivals, been the top team all year, so it's going to be a great game.
A Huonville win would see them complete an undefeated season. With that on the line, the Port coach says the Lions have plenty to play for.
They've gone undefeated, so I think that adds on a fair bit of pressure onto them for sure.
I feel like it does add a little bit of pressure to it, but you can take that how you want. It's obviously a good thing to go in with.
Cygnet recovered from their semi-final loss to Huonville, putting their rivals on notice with a huge win over Dodgers Ferry in last week's preliminary final.
We identified early in probably pre-game we wanted to really knuckle down that first quarter and sort of really set a statement.
The Lions, on the other hand, go in having played just once in 34 days. The captain confident their training program has kept the legs ticking over.
We've just kept training hard, extra sessions on weekends and just sort of rolling with it and probably doing more work than you typically see in September.
In the reserves, Cygnet will be looking to make it a big day when they play Dodgers Ferry, while in the Colts, Huonville and Lindisfarne will play off for the flag. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
And the North West Football League finals campaign is heating up. Wynyard and Devonport will meet in a do-or-die prelim final clash at Ulster Oval tomorrow afternoon. The winner will progress through to the big dance, where they'll meet the Burnie Dockers, who have already locked in their spot in the grand final. Well, Clarence has received a boost ahead of this weekend's TSL Preliminary Final, where Colin Garland is set to return. Despite being the underdogs, the Roos are the in-form side at the moment, but the Northern Bombers have beaten them 3 times this year and are fired up after last weekend's second-half fade-out. Clarence's coach says the first 10 minutes will be critical.
We know that if we can come with that pressure and absorb that, but more importantly put that onto a North Launceston, we hope that that'll put us in good stead.
First bounce is at Utah Stadium on Sunday afternoon at 1:30. In the NBL, and the Jack Jumpers will use their upcoming pre-season tournament to build some on-court chemistry. The team flew to Queensland this afternoon for the NBL Blitz on the Gold Coast. Players and coaches believe the upcoming week will help them gel.
Everyone's trying to find the right combinations that are going to be successful for you, so I don't think we'll be any different. But just good to have the group together and healthy.
Meanwhile, Clint Steinwell will continue as captain this season, with Fabian Kristovic and Jack Mavey named as joint vice-captains.
Yeah, it's really cool. For me, it just shows that because it was voted in by the peers, like the respect they have for me and the respect I have for them goes both ways.
The Jack Jumpers will take on the South East Melbourne Phoenix for the first game of the Blitz. To soccer now, and Valley Road will play host to some cutthroat semi-finals this weekend. In the WSL, Launceston United are looking to ride the finals momentum and feed into its rivalry with the Devonport City Strikers.
The closest thing we get to a derby, so yeah, it's
it's always a really, really physical and hard-fought match. And I think it's definitely going to be entertaining.
Meanwhile, the Kingborough Lions will have a tough task ahead facing the Strikers, who recently secured the NBL title. But it's a challenge they say they're up to.
Try to, just have a very structured approach to everything we do. So sort of really business as normal for us and how we approach any sort of match.
All teams will fight to book their spot in the NBL and WSL deciders.
Good evening. Well, what happened on this Friday? Well, Hobart reached 20 degrees today. Launceston and Burnie a bit shy of that on 18. Devonport 16. 21 was the top at Friendly Beaches, as most temperatures sat between 2 and 5 above average. St Helens and Bushy Park not far behind with 20. Grove 19. The Bass Strait Islands both 17. 16 at Strawn and 15 today at Low Head. Areas of low cloud over the west as bands of high cloud cross the state today. Situation on the big picture, cloud is also crossing Victoria, extending over eastern New South Wales. An onshore flow has cloud over the south of WA, a little upper level cloud over the Kimberley region. Tomorrow a westerly stream blasts over us as a cold front pushes up from the south, dumping a fair bit over the southwest. A ridge of high pressure dominates the mainland. And those winds peaking at 40 knots tomorrow with swells to 5 metres, strong winds over the lakes as well. With that in mind, we have a severe weather warning for damaging winds for the far south there, that little pocket just south of Tarraleah and east of Strathgordon. A gale warning from Stanley to St Helens Point and from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. A strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters along with the inland lakes. And we have a minor flood warning, that's for the Huon River. Well, Saturday's going to be great for footballers, won't it be? Hobart showery and 17, 13 for Maydena, some heavy falls, and Oatlands a shower or 2, 17 the maximum. Launceston 18 with a shower or 2, very windy, windy 2 for Devonport 17 and just 11 the high for Lyreweenie. Burnie expecting a top of 16, a windy day with showers, same for Strawn, 15 the top there and 16 for Marrawar. And for the east, 18 for St Helens and partly cloudy. Swansea 19, 18 for Orford, a shower or 2 there. On Sunday, showers over the islands and the west coast, but fine elsewhere. A shower also moving across the northwest on Monday. And on Tuesday, showers over the north and west extending elsewhere later in the day. A possible shower in Perth tomorrow. A sunny Saturday for Adelaide and Melbourne, warming up to 32 in Sydney. And a sunny 26 for Brisbane. And as you look at the current conditions, Kim, I don't know why anyone would want to be a Melbourne member, but lucky Victoria is. She's given us the treasured family tie, so when I spill sauce on it tonight off the pie, I won't be worried at all.
Poor Victoria, you're hard on her. And that is all for this evening. Reminder, you can catch the AFL Live tonight on 7 Tas. Have a great weekend. For now, good night.